Mumia Abu-Jamal. His speech from a prison phone was a reminder of those who sacrificed life and freedom in the very real struggle for black liberation.
Good evening, Comrade Mumia.
Considered one of the most important political prisoners in U.S. history, Mumia is a former Black Panther unjustly serving life without parole in a Philadelphia penitentiary. From prison, Mumia has become an internationally renowned political and social commentator. He's published several books, including Reflections from a Prisoner of Conscience and Live from Death Row.
As we witness the cop riots of violence against black life in the midst of neoliberal America, in the age of Obama no less, it's vital that we learn the lessons of history, especially during the COINTELPRO era. As many of us know, history, real history, tells us more about today than yesterday, for it provides a roadmap of how we got here. What was the central objective of the FBI's COINTELPRO operation? Where the goals to destroy, disrupt, and neutralize black leaders are stated clearly. The central objective wasn't merely to destroy, say, Martin Luther King, for example. It was to replace him with a figure of their own choosing, to essentially take over the civil rights and black freedom movement by placing their puppet on the throne. This plot was personally approved by FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover in January of 1964. It was in all but name an attempted coup, the toppling of a black leader to impose a puppet that they could control. It was, in essence, the same thing that happened in Iran, in Guatemala, in Haiti, in Iraq, and in many, many countries. What happened abroad, on the periphery of empire, was tried here in its interior. For in a white nation, blacks are eternal foreigners, aliens, and thus outside the realm of alleged constitutional rights. For if this can be done against a mild, nonviolent Christian minister of the Gospels, what can be done against you? Under the surveillance and infiltration of the Black Freedom Movement and killings of people like Deputy Chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton, in his sleep, by the way, we see that the FBI functioned as race police. They also demonstrated what we see all around us today, the culture of police impunity. The road from the state murder of Fred Hampton on December 4th, 1969, leads directly to the killing of young Laquan McDonald in recent days in Chicago. For both are expressions of the ugly and recurrent phenomenon of police impunity, the right to murder if the victim is a black person. Today, as the U.S. embarks on a new century, it's perfectly acceptable to large segments of the American population to beat someone to death, to shoot them, to choke them to death, men, women, even babies, with perfect impunity. How can this be? But American roots of police were born quite differently and for different reasons. Founded as slave patrols in the 1720s in the Barbadian British colony of the Carolinas, the body of armed white men had one primary duty: control Africans as a large labor source. Their movements were monitored daily to protect the property of the landowning class. Times change, of course, yet some things remain. In this neoliberal era, when the political class sold the remaining shreds of their souls to the corporations and dispatched millions of jobs overseas under NAFTA and CAFTA, the role of police sharpened as they were equipped with weapons of war, ostensibly in response to fake wars on terrorism. We saw the real role in Ferguson, 2014. Remember COINTELPRO? All of those acts, although illegal, were answered by impunity. The neoliberal state, now presiding over an open crisis of capitalism, goes one step better. In a moment of national fear, think 9/11, it passes the so-called Patriot Act, and voila, in one fall swoop, every crime of COINTELPRO is made legal. Phone tap, constant surveillance, snitches and rats, black sites, secret prisons, no problem. Because it's all legal. Because everything police do in a police state is legal. But the quote moves John Africa. Just because it's legal, don't make it right. Now, Black Lives Matter enters the cipher. Born by women, grown by women, nurtured by women. It is beautiful to behold. It's movement time again. We welcome you. Right on. I thank you all. On the move. Long live John Africa, and all Black Lives Matter. Long live revolution.
Several days of workshops, panels, and discussions with a diverse range of ages and backgrounds. The energy and power of the conference showed that as much as the Empire tries to write Black history for us, there are legends and new leaders who are making Black history right now, in the tradition that challenges the Empire's pillars.